chess. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So you know in chess that you can use it to do certain pieces, like the pawn can only move one step forward. Different limitations for different pieces. Like the knight, it has the L shape, right? And then the rook can go in any direction along certain, but the queen is almost like the Kimura. So the Kimura, we can go forwards, backwards in different directions, very unlimited movement using that. So that's what makes it like part of the game. And also the great thing is that there's always this question about gi versus no gi. So for me, if you see when I'm training, I know a lot of it, and I still use it when it makes sense, when I need to. But I'm not overly invested in like squeezing and really fixating on those type of grips. My game is very much gi and no gi oriented, and the Kimura does very well to take us into the no gi game as well. So yeah, that being said, welcome. Thank you for joining us. With the knife, I'm gonna be looking to come inside, right? Control here, and then step inside from here. Now, he can always kind of switch the knife to his other hand, right? So this is common that you might see if somebody gets kind of disarmed from their attack, so go back to the other hand. So here, in order to avoid that type of trade-off, so keep my control with this arm here. Again, my center is controlling his upper body, and then I'm able to slide up to the wrist and then get him to drop that knife or take it away, right? And then in reality, do you want to stab somebody? Not really. I would just get rid of that and throw somewhere. But depends who you ask, right? I don't particularly want to stab anybody. I would just throw the knife away. So again, he's coming in. My first step isn't going to be to grab, right? Notice how I moved my body out first. So as he comes in, I'm going to get my body out to the side. I'm going to go over the shoulder, and then I'm going to secure on my own wrist. Now again, remember all of the things I'm teaching now apply to the other Kimuras. So we don't want to go with our thumbs here. We don't want to separate our thumb and our fingers. We want to bring our thumb and our fingers together. And then I do want to, for this position, keep my leg inside of his leg. The reason for this being that, again, one of my main things is to prevent him from bringing his left arm close to his right and handing off the weapon, right? This is not good. So if he is trying to step around here, he's very free at this point to try to hand off to the other hand. So if I can keep my leg inside of his leg, this kind of prevents his movement, gives me a bit more control over where he's going. And I can raise this behind his back now, keep it far away from his left arm. And then, again, slide up to the wrist. Either, chances are as you put that pressure on the wrist, he's going to let go of that knife, or you can take it away from him and throw that away. All right? One more time. So this could be with a low attack, or it can be with a high attack. In that case, I'm also moving my head away. Coming here, leg inside, and then immediately taking that wrist behind the back, controlling here with my inner thigh to his inner thigh, and then putting pressure with my center, especially if he's bigger than me. I don't just want to rely on my elbow. I want to use my center to weigh him down, and then go to the wrist here and disarm. You guys want to try that with your partner? All right, so just pretend like you have a little. Yes. Okay, what time is that? So, yep, get that Kimura grip right away. Good. And then you step in this leg.
Bam. Bam.
And then get away so you can let go. Good. So again, if I'm able to really sprawl first before he gets a really good shot in, that's my best option, is to just disengage fully, right? But let's say that he stays sticky there on the leg. Good. So now, one option that I have here, first option, because I'm always thinking about what's best in priority sequence for me. So, do I want to sacrifice first? No, because there's a risk. So, The one that I'm gonna show second is gonna be where I flip him over. It requires me to sort of risk my position and give it up a little bit. So the first one that we wanna teach is where we mainly stay on top, right? So here, I'm gonna be sprawling, and he still has my leg. So I'm gonna shoot my arm through the space here, and then grab a Kimura grip over here. So again, as he comes in, I still don't want to be just here with no pressure on him. So even if he gets the leg, I'm putting my chest down on his close shoulder, making it hard for him to now exit the position, right? And then I'm gonna go through here. Now, don't try to like do a slow grip and like snake your way through. Imagine this is like you're just like kind of inserting it into that space there, quickly getting through. And now attaching the Kimura. I'm not gonna go here in front of his head. I wanna go over his head with my hand on his wrist here. And then I have this. And now I'm gonna take my leg back because I have this position now. And now I'm gonna be able to bring him over towards the side here. And then get into my crucifix position. So now I'm here. I'm not straight behind him because now he can also drive his weight into me, making it uncomfortable, limiting my movement. But I'm more so landing in a space that's like off to the side. You know, like we talk about attack angles for the triangle. They always say you should be able to see what's in their ear. Looks pretty good, but I'm able to see his ear here. If I can't see his ear, I'm not in a great position. So I'm on that attack angle. And now here, we're gonna get into many different attacks later. We're gonna get into triangles, arm bars, other Kimura finishes, but just working to here for now. So this first setup, he's going for the single leg. I sprawl first. Notice how I kind of have to sometimes hop my weight up and over. So see the trajectory of my body over, go through. Now, he's doing a pretty good job of keeping it tight. I can still shoot that in, but if I really want to make sure I get that, I can bring my other hand to the elbow, peel it open, and then shoot my hand through, get my Kimura grip, and now I can take my leg back. I'm putting more weight on his back, pulling him in towards me, and then getting out to this angle. From here, we can just end up over here. You guys ready to try that? Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Man, this is good.
Weight, but now he's kind of trapping himself in, right? So in Jiu-Jitsu, it's not so much about what technique am I gonna really try to do and force. It's about what is he giving me, right? If you ever heard this term that, oh, he gave me this position or he gave me this attack. So right now, he's not giving me the ability to sprawl cleanly out and extract my leg, but he is giving me the ability to hook sweep him because he's keeping my leg. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna go here, and then this one is less so when I have my arm over. For this one, just to be safer, it will work here, but just to be safer, we're gonna go under the head for this one, right? And to really land this one, I don't wanna sit all the way out here. I wanna sit, if possible, right underneath him, so that, as you guys know, with any good sweeping position, we're right under our opponent, we can elevate them really well. So that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna sit my bum forward. So right now I'm away from him, lift up my leg, yeah, good. And now I'm gonna sit in underneath him, stay tight, and then roll him over here. Now I end up in that same type of position. One more time. So again, he's going. I get my position. Now I can't extract, but I can sit in and then roll him over and end up in the same position. If he keeps my leg, which they do sometimes, great. I'm gonna go and clamp here on his forearm with my leg that he was trapping, and then get even tighter into position. And then this is gonna help us set up other things here, where I can kind of like trap his arm and set up the crucifix. So again, any questions so far? No? Okay. Here. Chest over still. Arm through. Again, if I need that space, I'm prying, opening up. And then I sit my bum right underneath. And bring him over. And if I want, clamping with my calf here. And then still able to look into his ear. You want to connect with the other finger. Yeah, sit your bum underneath him as you do this. Yeah, you're squeezing on his forearm with your calf. To sit up and wrestle up, boom. This gap here is what my mind has become tuned to. And then same thing as he sits up and starts to go for wrestle ups or sweeps. This gap here is what you want to start to look for anytime that their elbows are open. And now the great thing is that we don't have to give it away by doing a full Kimura grip. We can just shoot that first arm through and then continue moving with our body. Eventually we can get that second grip. So go ahead, boom. I'm gonna shoot this through and I can grab on his forearm here. And then a lot of people teach this as like a big Hail Mary where they like jump. And then I'm actually gonna be sneaky here and make a little shift back with my knee and then start to go around his back. So I'm gonna go around his back with my knee, and I'm gonna kind of slide across the back to this position over here. And then I added my second hand. So I'm gonna slow it down. But basically, we start with the first one. Don't clasp your hands for this one. I'm gonna go here. I can get this for now, but again, he might be aware. So I'm just gonna shoot this through. And I'm gonna take my knee, and I'll show you the pathway that my knee takes. Out here, so I make a slight shift back, across the top of his shoulder, his deltoid, and I'm gonna slide my shin across his back here, and then I end up in the same position that we've been going to. Boom, boom, I cut across. And then at this point, when I'm behind him, I can add my second hand, switch, and then I just fall through, end up on my side, end up behind him, and in this angle looking at his ear, right? And now we can get into all the different attacks that are gonna come next. And we have different attacks based on being here, or being here, and then also being here. Okay. Any questions about that entry? Yeah.
If you're doing it in real time, are you switching the hands that grip his wrist as you're falling?
So, good question. I'm here in real time. I'm gonna shoot this through. Sometimes I don't even grab. I just look to open that elbow space. I might even just have my hand like this. And then as soon as I get behind, this is when I'm really going for this. And then I'm able to just jump from here and end up over here. And tighten. And then another point on this part, I'm pushing his wrist in towards his body, right? Because he's gonna try to sit up and in towards his right elbow. So if I can keep this pushing in, it's gonna make it hard for him to do that, right? Questions? Ready to give it a try?
Yeah, hand him. This one has to come in here.
Yeah, just slide across the back with your shin.
From here.
So more so, can I get you please sitting up?
Well, I need to get this
We're
again.
doing it on this side. I have this. Now, I don't want to end up with this straight down. I want to slide through and over and across with this knee. So I end up deep across the back here.
And that's your left leg.
Yeah.
You're slipping out and around.
Yeah. If I sit and bring them over, I have my other hand free. I can add in here and go over and now reinforce with my Kimura grip. So just going into classic Kimura finish to begin. I'm gonna push his wrist in again to prevent him turning into me. Now I'm gonna bring my body away and then keep pushing in towards him. Come up to my knees and then sit him up towards his side. Now here it's gonna be a battle for him to come onto his back. I'm gonna have to be continuously pushing forward to stop that. So in order to stop myself having to expend that energy, I'm just gonna wedge behind his back here. And now I have a good structural ability to just keep him here. Now he can try to push his back into the floor all that he wants, and I don't need to be pushing here the whole time as much, right? There's a little bit of energy, but I'm not having to work so much. I can just kind of lean in as well. And now I like to bring my left leg over. A lot of people will teach it like this. I personally like to get into this space over here. So I go over, and then I slide the heel in towards the armpit there, right? So now I have really tight block on each side. Now I can extract that arm, wrist behind the back, and then turn and go back to your Kimura grip. Take that wrist behind the back, and then rotate here. One common mistake people make is that they're not putting enough weight down here. So they're going here, and then the person's not tapping. So two things I'm gonna fix here: that wrist right in contact with the back the whole time, and then my weight sitting on his shoulder. You know, for the purposes of drilling here today, we don't have to do it, but in reality, you might just be sitting on their head, right? And then taking it around, some gentle art. All right.
So what's that submission then?
This is the Kimura itself.
So the Kimura is basically both a grip and a submission?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So just from the seated guard, I'll go into that entry, same thing here. So from here again, just with the one hand, and then bringing my knee around, I clasp my second hand. Now if I just want the Kimura, again, if I don't do anything else here, and he's strong, he can turn in, put his elbow to the floor, right? Put your elbow to the floor here, and he can come up on top. Right now I have to work to maintain my position, come back. So I'm gonna push that wrist in, take my legs away. Now try to come up. Very hard for him, because now I'm sprawled out. So I can take my time, drive. If he's really big, you can just drive forward. Drive forward. I'm pushing into my toes. Knee behind the back. Left foot over. Squeeze in. And then finish here. Ready to give that a try, guys? 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now I can pull back here. So before I go to the triangle position, we already know that we can finish here if we sit up. So I can sit up. And then does this look familiar? Right? That was our first simplified finish position. So now we know two ways to get there. We can either go back, sit him up and go through this whole process, or we can simply stay here. Remember, I talked about chilling. So we're chilling, we just throw that leg over, come up from here, and then we're right in. Right? And again, if he wrist grabs that grip, we reach in, break the grip here. And then we talked about, even in this position with our leg over, we can do that same armbar attack that we just did with the wrist lock. Now we're going to talk about the triangle. So this is the triangle. It's not a regular triangle. This is a reverse triangle. So if it feels weird with your legs, don't worry, it's more awkward for him. It's more uncomfortable for him, trust me. So I'm going to pull that wrist through. I'm going to shoot my leg through really deep here, pushing, and then I'm going to try to lock behind my other knee and then squeeze here. Right, so it's a very powerful choke. Again, from here, I'm going to not try to go here, I'm gonna go all the way over. As I back heel here, if it's no gi, grab the wrist. If it's gi, it's a little bit easier because we really have the leverage of the wrist grip. I'm shooting through. Notice how if I don't do anything else, it's hard to really get that deep lock with my leg. So I'm going to squeeze back with my heel and aim to get as close behind my knee as I can and squeeze here. And he's already tapping, it's very tight. Now let's just say I do get a shallow lock, no problem. He's stuck there. I can continue to my arm attacks. All right. Let me show. Feel secure. I shoot through and I roll over. I end up in this position. I'm chilling here. Throw my left leg over. And then I can grab the wrist, sleeve, lock up tight, and squeeze. And then again, I have multiple options here, that arm attack series, or just sit up into that original Kimura.
How are you controlling his right arm while he's, or is it just like caught with your right arm?
This one here?
As you're going for the arm extend.
So once I'm here, how am I controlling this?
The right arm, his right arm.
Yep. Right now, because he can't clasp his hands, I don't need to worry too much about what he does with that. I can just go back.
Okay.
Right, I can pull with my arm, or I can use a back extension.
Okay.
And pull that wrist away, and then go here. Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Pulling the sleeve.
Very
You're getting
good.
into a try.
And now, just while you're working on this, you can loosen here for me. Yeah, good.
Here,
Yeah.
and I'm like, so his elbow's back here.
Yep.
So I'm right under it, and I find like getting the grip on my forearm.
So now, what you want to do is you're on the soft part of your bicep. What you want to get is kind of like this part here, your forearm, kind of underneath his tricep. Yeah, that sharper part. And now.
Oh, and that elevates it.
Yes. And now, don't move the rest of your body. Just push down here, and then lift up with that tricep part. And you should be able to get that tap.
I'm lifting like by turning my elbow in, or just literally lifting?
Literally lifting,
like
and
up.
keeping this part in contact with that tricep part. Yeah. And try not to move anything else, just those two
Yeah.
motions.
Ooh.
All right. Here, put me in it.
Yeah, maybe you can feel it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm getting this part of my arm under and this over.
There you go.
And then I feel like I inevitably get it right on my elbow. So should I just be pulling out and coming up?
Yeah, that's good. And push up more with your right arm, upwards to the sky. So you're turning, more just push this right arm straight upwards while also pushing this down. Tap.
Oh, sorry.
Right, so what is happening here, I think, is that when we're making the adjustments sometimes, we're moving everything at once, when really we're just focusing on these two aspects and really limiting the movement. So it's as we're doing one thing, right? It's like, for example, you know golf, right? If you're doing a swing, you have to focus on like 10 things and get them all right. So it's like, yes, now you're focusing on bringing this up, but in that act, now you're changing what you're doing here. So it's like really focusing on this specific motion that has to happen here and maintaining that while you add this one going up, right? So sometimes we change one thing and we're doing that one right, and then we're changing the other thing at the same time. So really trying to like isolate those movements and getting just those two things, right? And then not moving the rest of your body too much. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Any other? Yep, time for one more. Okay, I'll switch. Okay. Close that left knee. Time's going. any time.
Yeah.
Who was able to finish the... There's just two things I want to show you that I forgot to kind of slip in that I think are important, but we won't get to drill these. So I just want to show you how these ones work. Calvin, can I get you please? So same crucifix position. So we're here. We talked about this control. We talked about leg over. And then what can happen sometimes is that we actually end up all the way with this leg over here on the other side. Now this one can be a very powerful position to just simply finish the Kimura from here, right? So if I can stomp this down, I'm really just even rotating my wrist forward and pushing this wrist in to finish. Or even more powerful, if I come and sit over here now. Now I'm really in a powerful position to finish. Or the other one that I wanted to show you is, let's say we're in back control, and then we're going for the choke here. And a lot of the time, people who are pretty good at jiu-jitsu, they're good at defending the rear naked choke. So he's doing a good job of tucking his chin, right, and turning his head slightly this way to prevent the choke. So now in order to get my crucifix position, similar to those arm bars that we've done, I go here and enter into the crucifix position, and then we have all of our attacks. So any of these back attacks, we can portal to the crucifix. And now when he's defending this position and he's sitting forward, I can go into the back attack systems as well. So just something to keep in mind. Before we do a little bit of like cool down with the belt stretches and stuff, does anybody have any more questions? Anything that you noticed when you were sort of applying it with your partner?
A lot more difficult than it looks.
Yeah,